reached Historia.
Leave a message after the beep.
Beep! Everyone stops listening. Don't leave, please.
I'm Jamie.
I'm Kylie.
We welcome you this week to another episode of Authors.
Yay!
Yay!
We're taking a dive way back deep.
Super way back.
Yes.
I don't even know what happened. You know this.
I have no idea who you're talking about. You were like, I'm going to talk about this person. And I was like, huh?
You probably don't even know who
I
it
said,
is.
okay.
I think, though, you probably don't know who this person is, but I'm sure you've heard of this story.
Okay.
Yes. Do you know what this is?
Yes.
Antigone?
Yes.
Have you read it?
Yes.
It's fantastic.
That's by him?
Yeah. This is one of his big... Antigone is one of his big ones.
Okay.
I actually read this because in college I took a Roman and Greek class. Kind of. He had a very interesting way of teaching his class. But it was still very informative. And one of my favorite books that we read, it was also very, very skinny because a lot of the books that we read for his class were so thick. Was...
With 2 C's.
Yes. Yeah. But one of them that I absolutely loved reading was Antigone. Granted, it was not the Antigone by Sophocles. It was by a different author who did... His last name was like Slavoykia or Slovakia. It's Russian.
Okay.
But he does different endings for Antigone because it's very tragic at the end.
Yeah.
But his adaptations, he does like 3 different endings for her.
Oh,
of,
cool.
like what else can happen? Because
So there's multiple books, or it's just like...
There's multiple, like, because the story itself is not very long.
Yeah.
So he goes on to, like, a certain scene and just ends it differently. Like, different. I highly recommend everybody read it. It's fantastic. It's kind of hard to read. Like, the original Antigone. All of these are really hard to read. I'm going to be blunt about it.
Yeah.
Because the language is translated for one, and it's just very hard to read. So
yeah, when you put it up to be, like, I know I've had a couple seltzers, but, like, I was like, I, like, couldn't read at first.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, Antigone.
But, so, I hope that gives you all a clue on who I'm talking about today. Sophocles!
Yay!
He's such a well-known, tragedian? Tragedian? He writes plays that are also called tragedies.
Yeah.
In ancient Greek culture.
Right.
So if you're not, he's, in a sense, super well known for, like, historians and just people who are history buffs, but, like, right away, a lot of people aren't going to know about it.
I would only know his plays.
Before you, like, go, oh, I don't really care, you gotta listen further, because it's all sorts of a fucked up.
What is he from? What year? You'll probably tell me.
Yeah, so, like, way BCE.
Oh!
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's that
How did you write a book back then?
I mean, so a lot of them, so Herodotus, they say, is the first historian.
Yeah.
In a sense of starting to write history down. And for Sophocles, they started writing everything down. But a lot of his novels, as I will get into, only so many are complete.
Okay. That we know of.
So a lot of them, they have been recorded and saved in, like, libraries like Alexandria.
Yeah.
Or they've just been passed down through, like, other museums or other archives.
Okay.
That's how we know of them. A lot of them, because of war, because of just being lost.
That makes sense.
They are being burned and stuff like that. They get lost over time. But Sophocles, luckily, we have a lot of his original work, which is
I'm excited to learn.
In that era, yes. So, are you ready to go?
So listen up, guys. Listen up.
Today we will be discussing an ancient Athenian poet, tragedian, man by the name of Sophocles. You might be thinking, who is this man and why is he
Revolutionary?
Relevant.
Oh, relevant.
Relevant. Oh my god. I'm two seltzers in and I'm already... Yeah. I don't drink as much as I used to.
Yeah, that's how I feel right now. Oh, wait, can I sit down? Oh, never mind. I'll tell you later. Go away, ADHD. Go away. Okay, go ahead.
Why is he relevant to a history podcast? Are you thinking this? God, this is not
because he was once alive and now he's not.
Well, I'm here to tell you that Sophocles and his ancient tragedies are more well known than you think. His work is so well known it even inspired a psychological term.
What term?
No.
I was trying to think of something that goes with his name.
Girl, I'll tell you.
It's like,
I will discuss technically just one tragedy, but I've already talked about Antigone, which I was going to read it, but then I didn't get the time to.
That's fair.
To like really explain it, but this first one is probably the most important that we know of.
Okay.
I will even see if you know it.
We'll see. I don't read, so.
Wow.
Sorry.
So, this tragedy that I'm speaking of is also known to an average person as a play. That's what a tragedy is, a Greek tragedy. That would take ancient Athens by storm, but also the man behind the pen. So, let me tell you a story. This is the actual, concept of the Greek tragedy. Are you ready? Okay. We open to the king of Thebes, Laius and his wife Jocasta. Ring a bell?
No.
Okay. The couple had just bared a son, knowingly understanding a curse was brought unto his line. The king brought his son to an oracle. In discovery of his son's fate, the oracle said to Laius, he was condemned to die by the hands of his own son. Appalled, Laius and Jocasta ordered their son Oedipus to be killed.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Have you heard of this
story?
Yes,
I've heard of Oedipus.
The servant was ordered to kill Oedipus, but to his inner conflict, decided he could not kill the boy and instead gave him to a shepherd. The shepherd then traveled with Oedipus to Corinth, where he would give him to the king Polybus, where he would raise him. So he was still royal in a sense. Yeah. Into adulthood, Oedipus would hear rumors he was not the true son of King Polybus. And to confirm his suspicions, he went to an oracle at Delphi. Or Delphi.
He wants the hot goss.
Yes. There, the oracle surprised him with the fate of marrying and mating with his own mother and killing his father.
Oh, shit.
Still thinking Polybus and his mother Merope were still his true parents, decided to leave Corinth to prevent such fate. So the oracle never said that Polybus was not his real father. So this bra is still thinking that he is the son of Polybus.
Oh, wow.
He headed to Thebes. On a journey to Thebes, Oedipus would run into Laius, not knowing who this man was. The two argued on which chariot move ahead first. Laius went to strike Oedipus with his spear of some sort, or his, he had something in his hand to, strike him and kill him with.
Whatever was in his hand.
Yeah. But Oedipus instead threw him from the chariot, killing his true father.
Oh my God.
He still didn't know who this man was. The prophecy had unknowingly began. So he tried to prevent it, but you can't tempt fate. It's gonna happen.
I literally watched, I don't remember where it was, but I watched people perform Oedipus and just completely forgot the story.
Dude, it's fucking wild.
So this is a good refresher.
Yes, yes it is. Further along, Oedipus met with a legendary creature called the Sphinx. It is a weird creature, a Greek creature. It's like the head and the upper body of a woman, but like she's also part eagle and lion. I think so. It's like those three. It's weird. She was cursed that way.
Sounds like some Narnia shit.
You can thank the gods for that. The Sphinx was cursed by the gods to stay on the road to Thebes and force every traveler to answer a riddle or be strangled by her hands.
That'd be so stressful.
Honestly, just to get into Thebes, and it's not that great. Oedipus answered correctly and in return was given the hand of marriage to the Queen Jocasta.
Damn.
Because everybody found out that the king was dead. They didn't know who it was, and they're like... So the Sphinx was like, yo, if you answer this question, I'll give you the hand of this old lady. And he was like, okay, I'm going to be king.
I feel like you have to take everything very literally. Was it an actual hand?
No.
Okay.
The hand of marriage.
Sometimes with these old tales, they actually are like, let's cut off the hand.
No,
hand of marriage.
It was the hand of marriage.
Okay.
Just getting married to this
Figuratively.
lady. Figuratively.
Not the actual hand.
Yeah. Now, marrying the Queen Jocasta, the prophecy had now been fulfilled.
Oh.
So, he killed his father and married his mother. Yeah. It's that.
So that's a decision.
Now, further into his reign, the assassination of Laius would come up soon enough, and a witness to such event he'd be brought. The witness was the servant who told of the prophecy in giving Oedipus to the shepherd. So it was the witness the servant who gave Oedipus as a child to the shepherd.
Okay.
So he came back and was like, I got news for you. Laius is your father. Polybus isn't. And he's just like,
the fuck?
Jocasta and him are just like, we have kids together? What?
I'm like,
Yeah, they're just now finding this out. It was discovered that Oedipus murdered his father and married and bare children with his mother. So that shocked everybody in the crowd. They're just like, what? So Jocasta, disgusted and appalled, returned to the palace where she would hang herself.
Oh,
yeah,
funny.
Oedipus would find her and with just as much disgust of what he had done, would take a needle and gouge his eyes so he can no longer see. So he would go blind. And he did this and be blind so he would not look at his parents in hell because he knew he was going to the underworld once he died.
He's like, might as well not see it.
Yes. Or his children he had with his mother. He would no longer look at his children. And Antigone is like a continuation of some sort, and I believe Antigone is his daughter.
Oh.
So that was also like a curse onto their family. So his whole line is just cursed, and his daughter was one of them. So.
Damn.
Yeah. This play is pretty wild.
Yes.
But it is probably one of the most famous Greek tragedies there is out there. Because not only is it complete, but it's also just the story is just like, who the fuck thinks of this? But like it happens more often than you think. Not just marrying your own mother, that happened in ancient Egypt.
Right.
Or just marrying your sister, like just keeping the bloodline pure.
Right.
But just like because of fate, like this was just all new. Damn. So
wild.
Yeah, Sophocles, he knew what he was doing. He knew how to catch the eye of everybody.
Not gouge the eye out.
No.
I just love that. He's like, okay, I know I'm going to hell, so let's just like not look at it.
Oh yeah, and like he didn't die.
Yeah.
But he made himself blind because he's like, I can't even look at my children anymore because I'm so disgusted. Which is unfortunate for the kids, but it's just like, as the child, I'd be like, what deformities do I have?
I'd be like, what's wrong with me?
I
Why
know.
don't you love me?
But it's like they found out who assassinated the king.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's the king, so it's like, what do we do? Like, do we just continue on?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't get that far. That I know of.
Okay.
So, well, this specific tragedy is still widely talked about, and we can thank creator Sophocles. Born roughly in 496 BCE in Colonus, an area near Athens, Sophocles from a young age was prepped for his success in life. If you do not know what BCE means, it means before Common Era. So, and this took me a while to like figure out, but like how BCE works is that if you start at like 400 BCE, the closer that you get to 0 is closer to what is
like more present?
Yeah, because CE is Common Era.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at it.
Like go backwards counting.
Yes, and that took me a while to figure out. I'm like, so how did it go from like 500 BCE to 400 BCE and like it's moving forward? Like my brain couldn't concept that, but like that's how it works, is that they start later before Common Era, and then like the closer you get to 0, then it goes to Common Era, to what is like 0 to 2022 now. That's Common Era from what we've decided.
It makes sense because it's like 400 years before Common Era.
So if you see that the dates are getting lower, that's how it works. So
makes
that's
sense.
I'll probably cover this like if I do when I do like more ancient, I'll keep covering that just so people can get a refresher, because for me that was like, I don't know why that took me a while to like grasp, but
it's good to know that. So you guys aren't like, what is going on?
Why is it going down? So, since born near the educational city-state of Athens, Sophocles' education was above average than most people his age. So most kids his age, because if you think about ancient Greece, it's not a lot of kids could get the education. If you're in Athens, of course, you're going to get it, because that's where a lot of people focus on just like science and philosophy. Like that's what you were bred to do. Whereas like if you went to Sparta, it was all about your physique and your physical aspects.
Getting
of
strong.
war. Yes. Yeah. Like every single city-state had their own thing. But being a part of Athens, you knew your education was going to be great. And for him, he took on more of like a creative side. Most of his education included music, dance, and sports. I was a little surprised by sports, but I feel like everybody, you would have to participate in some sports. I don't know what that consisted of, sports related, but music and dance makes sense.
I'm very interested in the dancing though.
Yeah, I don't know
what
how
type
dance
of
runs. I have no idea.
It's like, yeah. Like I'm just imagining like was it with the people or was it by himself? Like was he just like, guys, watch?
It might be like theatrical kind of.
Maybe.
I don't know. Tragedies were very interesting, as I'll cover a little bit of like how they were structured and how he broke that structure and made it his own.
He's a ballerina.
He would participate in his own plays though too. That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Not a lot of authors do that.
Yeah.
Or poets.
Playwrights.
Along the way, at age 15, Sophocles was granted the lead in the Paean, a hymn, which is a chorus of boys at the victory of Salamis. So Salamis was a war that was going on, and it was like a battle or like a feud pretty much that he actually sang. He was the lead of the chorus there. So a chorus is just like a bunch of people like kind of narrating or singing.
Yeah.
So like what we know of a choir now. Like that's how it.
It's like a group of people doing
one
thing.
Yes. Along the way, Sophocles found the love of writing Greek tragedies. People instantly fell in love with his work and performances. 468 BCE, Sophocles would win his first tragedy competition. I didn't even know that they had competitions for these. When I was thinking about that, I was like, they had?
Like, who can be the most tragic? Let's find out.
Pretty much. There's quite a bit of them, especially famous ones, but I feel like he's probably one of the most successful because he wrote a lot, but of course we don't have all of them.
That'd be cool if we still had tragedy competitions. I would watch that. That'd be interesting.
Tragedies are honestly pretty interesting because they're like plays, but they have narrators that are the chorus.
Very dramatic.
Yes, they are very dramatic. They're dramas.
I would love to watch a competition. I think that'd be very interesting.
He won a lot of them too. Like he did the damn thing.
He knew it, and then he danced off the stage. He's like, all right, thank you.
Little known fact about Sophocles: he would win the most dramatic competitions and win 18 times the most important festival in the city of Dionysa.
I bet everyone was mad at him for winning all the time.
I mean, if you're that good, it's like you gotta appreciate it. But yeah, of course, like all of the people who love his work are probably like, oh, he so deserves it. But of course, like all of the other writers are like, bro, give us the...
I'm trying to be tragic. No one likes my work.
Dude, these people ate it up. They would have like the whole amphitheaters that you can still see now. And it's just so many people would go to them. They would have just the people come out. Athens loved their tragedies. They ate that shit up.
They're like, gosh, those eyes out. Yeah.
that was Athens, so for you. They were very...
Nothing's off limits.
Yeah. Honestly, they had everything.
They actually, like, killed people on stage in a lot of areas.
Yeah.
I think that's so crazy. Like, if your part in the play was to get killed, you could actually get killed.
Oh, yeah. Like, they took everything very seriously.
So crazy.
I just hope with Oedipus that they didn't actually cast a mom and son for the roles.
God, I hope not. They probably did.
They probably did just to really get in character.
Yeah, they're like, nope, we have to have a mom and a son. Nothing else.
That's so nasty. Sophocles in his plays would also act in them, gaining more of a reputation. So being in the plays, his reputation expanded. Just like, that's really cool that he's doing this. Like, yeah. But he also went to school for music and dance, so he knew that kind of stuff. Like, he was just like, this is my shit, I'm gonna do it. But, like, he was already pretty old at this point. He was, like, in his 40s. He lived super old. But I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is rare, but he has a reason as to why he lived so old. It's controversial to
so like
us.
A god.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, that's what they believed in. Along with his popularity and tragedy, Sophocles would also become involved in Athenian political and military affairs.
Oh, damn.
I had no idea. This dude was doing everything because in Greece, you know how many wars they were in. So many.
Yes. It
was never ending. If it wasn't one thing, it was another. If they weren't fighting with another area, they were fighting with themselves. That's how it goes.
Like, I don't know who to fight with. Hey, I hate you. I'm on your side.
Including his many talents, languages were another skill that he used to his advantage. I didn't know that.
Well-rounded.
Oh, yes, he was. He would utilize language to negotiate with allies of Chios and Samos. Samos. By 443 BCE, Sophocles would become state treasurer of Athens.
Oh, wow.
So he was really getting heavily involved in politics and military affairs. But, I mean, Athens wasn't really, like, military strong, but they still had to have one.
Right.
I mean, if they didn't, they would pretty much fail at everything.
It may not go well for them.
Yeah, exactly. Another side note, Antigone was a completed play we have now that looks at the tragic life of Oedipus's daughter Antigone. So that's when this came out too. So not only was he doing like these military affairs and like politics as a state treasurer, but he also was still writing Greek tragedies.
Oh, wow.
But I didn't know that Antigone actually came out before Oedipus. So, or I don't know if he wrote Oedipus first and didn't have it I guess, developed into a play until after Antigone, but Antigone came out first, from what we know.
Interesting.
So I bet they just were like, okay, why is her family cursed? Like, let's look a little bit deeper into that.
Yeah.
So, but that was surprising to me. But Antigone is not really as well known as Oedipus, but I honestly love Antigone a little bit more, just because like it sucks for her.
Sure.
Further along his success, we have the Peloponnesian War. 435 BCE, Sophocles would become a general and head of management of treasure to the Allies. So he's still heavily involved in military affairs. And I mean, the Peloponnesian War is a huge war. So it was between Athens and Sparta. Yeah, so.
The smart and the strong.
Yeah. And it was for a long time.
Oh, yikes.
I don't even know how they didn't get their asses kicked, but then again, when they were thinking, like, they had this, Sparta had the strength, but they didn't have I guess Athens really had, like, the idea of, like, what can we do to be smart about this?
Like a strategy?
The strategies, yes. That's what I'm thinking. I mean, they probably had some strategy, but Athenians were like, okay, what can we do because we're not as strong as them, so.
Yeah.
Because they were literally born, and if they did not decide from birth, if you were accepted, they would freaking just shove you off a cliff. Just kind of yeet you off. That's exactly what they would do.
I don't mean to laugh, it's just.
It's
I love
fucked up, yeah. They literally just were like, they would take the child out of the womb and be like,
what do you think?
This child is too small, and then just yeet it.
It's great. Get rid of it.
Sparta was brutal.
After I just held it in my body for 9 months, let's just toss it off a cliff.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is that, like, it wasn't just the men who were, like, physically fit and went to, like, training at age 7. Women did, too. Like, women trained, too. Everybody was prepped. I want to cover more of Sparta.
It's kind of like, just let the baby get a little bit bigger first.
Yeah.
Like, how can you tell when they're first born? That's so sad.
Yeah, that's just how they perceived it. It's really fucked up, but can't change the past now.
Cannot. You can only learn from it. Don't throw babies off cliffs.
Yeah, don't do that. Sophocles would be involved for years with military and political affairs, but still managed to create Greek tragedies. 429 to 420 BCE, it was that Oedipus, the king, is finally performed. So we finally have him being performed, and people are like, oh my god, this is fantastic. I love this. Tell me more. I want to see more of it. What the fuck? Everybody was so cool with it. 413 BCE, we have Sophocles, a part of the conversation of the oligarchy constitution. So he was making a decision of where the party system would kind of veer towards. Like, he didn't have the full decision of it, but he was kind of part of the conversation.
Yeah.
So that's where, like, more of his political affiliations were coming in. It's just making more decisions. He's just like, I'm getting kind of bored of this, or just I feel like towards, like, later on in his life, he was thinking more about, like, his plays. Like, it's just, there's really not a lot to know about him, just because it was so long ago, and there's only so much that we can research about ancient philosophers, ancient poets. But for him, like, he just kept doing whatever he wanted. Like, he figured out time to make Greek tragedies, because I feel like that was his true passion.
Yeah.
But, like, for him as a man and to be a part of Athenian society, he also had to perform in those political and military affairs. which is really sad because I wonder how much more, like, if he didn't worry about that, how much more he would have created.
Yeah.
If he did.
Dang, that's crazy.
Like, he already created a lot, but it's just, like, if he was solely focused on Greek tragedies, like...
He could have done a lot.
Yeah,
more.
but I wonder if, like, those political and military, of, like, him being involved in the politics and the military, if that helped him create.
Oh, maybe.
Because
he saw, like, different tension and...
Yeah, so maybe that was it. Like, we don't really know. It's kind of assumptions at this point. Like, we can't just, like, hit him up and be like, yo, what's your thoughts? Like, why?
Imagine taking him so seriously, like, while he's doing the politics, and then he's like, all right, time to dance. I don't know why I can't get over the fact that he was a dancer. I think that's iconic. I love that. I just want to see how they danced back then.
Just like, go murder these people. Well, I gotta go to this tragedy. I gotta go dance.
Put on my tutu.
Tutu? I don't think it's that kind of dancing.
No, it's not.
I think it is more like ballet. I'm not really sure what like ancient Greek dance was.
I know, that's why I'm so curious.
I need to do.
I can't stop thinking about it.
We're really obsessed with dancing.
I can't stop thinking about it.
Good lord. Up until 405 BCE, Sophocles did the damn thing until his death at 91 years of age.
Holy shit. He's a god for sure.
91 was like, it didn't exist. Like, you didn't exist. You were an ancient old man at that age. Because, like, roughly at that time, like, 40 was, like, you're old.
Yeah. You're about dead.
Yeah. Him living at 91, he was, like, an elder of just, like, high society. Like, you listened to everything that he said because he was he was a wise old man. Pretty much. Mm-hmm. Everybody was just like, how did he survive this
like,
long?
Gather around, children. I'll tell you a story.
Yeah, pretty much. It was believed his long life, by him, was due to the god of medicine Asclepius, who granted him mind and health to live as long as he did.
Oh, okay.
So he believed the god of medicine gave him the strength to, and granted him the ability to live as long as he did. And I mean, like, because they believed in those gods, like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Logically, he probably just was healthy.
Right, kept his mind going.
Well, yeah, he probably kept it,
kept dancing, kept fighting.
He probably stayed healthy, was just constantly moving around. He probably kept his mind sharp with writing and participating, like, reciting the lines and everything. So it's just, like, he really proved that, like, living a long life can exist in society crazy. Like that. I'm just surprised he didn't die of any plague.
I know! Damn, that guy was really on his side.
He was. Now, let's dive a little bit deeper into his private life. There's a little bit that I found that we know of, and it's mostly just... he had to have had a wife, but I didn't see anything about it. It was mostly just about his son and grandson.
Okay.
Because they both participated in Greek tragedies as well. Okay. They both created their own and performed. Which is, like, it's cool.
Yeah.
They followed their father's footsteps and grandfather's footsteps. Now, his son, Sophocles would have a son, Iophone.
iPhone?
Iophone. Yeah.
iPhone 5?
Iophone. I think it's iPhone.
Let's just call him iPhone.
I mean, all I need was get rid of the O and put the E at the end of the phone. And with the iPhone. Who, like his father, who was a poet. It was rumored, though, Sophocles favored his grandson more than his son, but none of this information is, like, really provided or confirmed. Right. His son's name, though, was grandson's name was Sophocles, too. So it, like, passed down. And, like, his grandson would continue to perform his grandfather's tragedies and kind of, like, keep them up to...
Oh, that's cool.
To keep them going.
Someone's got to do it.
So I'm like, maybe his grandson was the favorite. Because, like, his son was just doing his own thing. Kind of was just like, whatever. But his grandson was like, I am going to make sure everybody knows your name because we have the same name.
Suck up.
Pretty much.
Kiss ass.
In his death, it is not confident on how he passed. No one really knows how he passed, but there are...
He's old as hell.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking is that, but there's speculations.
Oh, okay.
One of the speculations is that he choked on a grape and then he died.
I almost just choked on my drink. Jesus. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's one of his speculations. And others thought he died while reciting Antigone. So he was just
in
like
the middle of
it and had like a heart attack pretty much and died as he was reciting Antigone.
Oh, I hope it's that one. That's kind of cute. It's like his story.
Yeah.
Imagine living to be 91 and then choking on a grape.
Dude, that was sick.
Like, I don't know.
But like, with that speculation of like, oh, maybe he did die, they were like, it was from, even though it could be like either or not even that at all, they did say, like in my research, it said that it is like written down that like he did die like wildly, like kind of just, kind of was like fabricated in just like a glorious way of how he died.
Huh.
And I'm like, I'm pretty sure he just died in his sleep. This dude's 91.
Right.
Like, you
That's
didn't have any proper medication, and he was probably
He's
like,
just old.
Yeah,
I'm tired. Like, let him go.
But yeah, it's for situations like this, we don't really know what's afraid. Like,
I like the grape story.
Yeah, that one's pretty funny.
I like to think that he died. He was trying to do his old ballet moves, and then couldn't do the split.
I mean, that could be a speculation.
Broke his hip and was like, ugh.
That could be it. We don't know.
Okay, sorry. I'm over the dancing.
I don't even know where he died, where they buried him. I don't know if you can even visit his grave. I didn't look that up. I don't know. Probably not. It's like fucking hella old.
Oh yeah.
In his lifetime, it is estimated that Sophocles wrote 123 to 130 plays.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but what we have in entirety now is only 7.
Oh wow.
So like completed ones, because
that's so sad.
all of the other ones are fractured, only some of it, or they're just entirely gone. But we have like record of like this has existed, but we don't have any documentation of it.
Dang.
Yeah.
Imagine all the stories we never knew.
Exactly, which is so sad. And that's why it's really, really important to archive important documents like that. And I bet Stephen King, like that we talked about, like his are going to be archived.
Yeah.
People are going to read them for generations.
Right, even the small ones.
But yeah, with Sophocles, he wrote so many, but the 7 that we know of is, this one's hard to pronounce, Trochonies. You have Ajax, Philoctetes, Electra, Oedipus Tyrannus, Oedipus Apollonius, and Antigone. So those are the ones that we do have right now that we have in entirety. I kind of want to read the other ones, especially Electra, to see like...
Yeah, that one sounds interesting.
Yeah. I'm very curious. I'm sure I can find out like Barnes and Noble or something. We'll see. Sophocles was favored by many, and his tragedies were to uniqueness that was never done before. So he was very unique because in a Greek tragedy, there was only, you had the chorus, which was about like 4 or 5 people that would be on stage, and they would narrate, and they would kind of do like hums of like songs and whatnot. So they were the ones who were always on the stage.
Yeah.
And then normally you would have only 2 actors at a time on the stage. Never more than that. Because that was just they thought that was way too many, and that dialogue could be just kept short. Yeah. Between these 2 characters, and then they would bring, so having them all together just wasn't a thing. Sophocles tested this and decided to change that in his writing. He was just like, I don't want just the chorus and 2 other actors on the stage. He's like, I want more. Oh. So he at first added a third actor. Yeah. And people were like, whoa. They're like, whoa.
Just a
third
big gasp
actor,
from
like
the crowd.
Because when you're adding more people into the scene, that means more dialogue and more detail, which he focused so heavily in his work, was the detail of the scene that was going around.
Yeah.
And the dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
Dialogue was so important, especially if you read just the plays themselves. They're all sorted of like who's speaking, what's going on in the area, what's going on in that scene. It's very detail oriented and very specific between the characters that are conversing and just the added characters that join in. At one point, he had over 12 actors included in a scene.
Dang.
That's a lot of fucking dialogue and trying to like put together like how are these people are interacting, how is the chorus being involved. Like you have to consider all of that because everything was narrated by the chorus. So adding them into the different conversations that were going on in the scene, that was heavily important.
Right.
To Sophocles. He made sure with his writing and his plays that this was set up to his expectations and what he wanted, which was hard to do because no one before this really understood like adding more people, because that meant more dialogue, more thought, more details. And Sophocles was like, I don't care. I'm going to do what I want. This is what I think should be.
Yeah. Well, because you don't really need to direct two people. But when you have a bunch of people, you have to, like, find places for them to stand.
Exactly. And then how are they going to come in and make conversation and then kind of step back? And then these other, how are they all going to interact? How is that going to work in the script itself?
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to write that out?
That shit's hard.
Yeah.
I directed a show with, like, 20 people.
Yeah.
And even, like, trying to figure out, like, who goes on when they're leaving, where they stand on the stage, how they react. Like, you had to figure all of that out. It's crazy.
Yeah, and not only was he doing this, because he was also, like, participating. I'm sure he was, like, directing the plays, too, to, like, be to his standard.
Right.
He was also a part of the treasurer. The state of treasurer. Like, it, and then so being crazy. Part of the military. Like, he was doing all of this at once.
Yeah.
I don't know how he found time. How that didn't stress him to have a heart attack at like 60-something.
Right.
I don't know how he did it, but he managed to live till 91 doing stuff like this. But I think he found a passion in everything that he did. I don't know if he really had a passion for politics or military, but from his work, you can tell he had a passion for his tragedies.
Yeah.
And hell, like, I wish we could have read all of the other ones that he has written, because I'm sure they're just as great and they probably could have been huge hits too, but it's just sometimes history gets destroyed. It's just sad how it is. Yeah, it's so sad, but it is what it is. His simplicity of writing comes alive to his wild and surprising stories that leave the audience captivated. It is debated that Sophocles is the best tragedian of his time, but his praise after his death seems to help push the debate in his favor. So his plays were still being produced like after he died, and people still loved him. Like, they just, until pretty much ancient Greece kind of just fizzled. Yeah, they highly respected Sophocles and kept his name alive, which is really important because that's how you keep it going.
That's how it's still going today.
And I mean, even this, Antigone and Oedipus are still being performed in, like, colleges and stuff.
Right.
Like, it's still going on to this day. But, so I told you earlier that this is a psychological term.
Yeah.
What it is. So.
Okay.
We're going to get into a little bit of this. So let's discuss a theory that Sigmund Freud developed. This theory consists around a young boy around 3 to 6 normally. It can be older, as we have seen in other situations, that has a complex arousal of emotions by an unconscious sexual desire for the parent of the opposite sex.
Oh, I have heard this. Okay. Yeah.
This is called the Oedipus complex.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So, along with the Oedipus complex of having this unconscious sexual desire towards, like, a boy towards his mother, he will then exclude his father. So, he'll push him to the side and be like, he'll have like this attachment to his mother in a way that's just unnerving.
Right.
And yes, it does go around for like 3 to 6, but as we have seen, Norman Bates, he has an Oedipus complex for his mother, and he's like in his teenage. If you have watched Bates Motel,
because usually it goes away, but sometimes it doesn't.
Exactly, it kind of just fizzles there, and you push away. Now, vice versa, this is called the Electra complex. So it would be the daughter towards her father.
Yeah, okay.
So that's why I'm like, I need to read Electra, because it's like
the opposite.
Is that how this play is? I don't know. So I'm like, I need to read this, because I'm very intrigued. But yeah, Sigmund Freud thought of this, because he has created a lot in his time of theories, but the Oedipus complex, I liked how he named it that because of the Greek tragedy, because he understood. He was like, this isn't new. Like, this whole complex isn't new, even though in Sophocles' interpretation, it's because of a curse, but he's like, it exists because it's a complex that these kids have, a psychological.
Well, and it's also like if you see, like if you're a male kid, you see your mom have a healthy relationship with the dad.
Yeah.
Then they're likely to like lean away from it.
Yeah.
But a lot of times if the dad's like not present, it's harder for them to get away.
Yeah, and so they rely heavily on their mother, or if it's like an abusive situation, they'll latch onto that loving figure.
Yeah, that's crazy. I was listening to Crime Junkie like 3 days ago, and they were talking about it. And I knew the name, but I didn't put 2 and 2 together. That's crazy.
The Oedipus complex is still a thing. It's still in like development of just being studied, because we're still trying to figure like, how does this develop? Can we maneuver the child out of it? Is it going to be in the child's life forever?
Right.
Because it says around 3 to 6, but it can, if the child has enough trauma, or they're not really pushed away from it, or really kind of explain like, this isn't normal, or just like, what can we do to help? Then it will continue on.
I wonder if they could form it later, like as they get older.
I'm sure
if like situations changed in their life.
I think there is a time frame between, because I believe
as
the
kids like developing.
Yeah, I believe the kids' brain developed to a certain age around, I think it's around 7.
Yeah.
That is the most important part for a kid not to develop high trauma.
Yeah.
Because if they do, that's when they start developing a lot of mental disorders that will cause serious effect in their life later on.
That makes sense, yeah.
But a lot of like older kids, because their brain is already developed a lot more than just the younger ones, they're not as spongy. As I think it's a little bit harder. I think it can form some sort of mental disorder, but then again, we never know. Anything can change, anything can happen. Like, it's all uncertain, because one person is not going to be the same as the next.
Right.
You pretty much just have to keep studying it to understand, like, well, is this going to be the same consistently, or is it going to change? But
wild.
So yeah, Sophocles.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, I just really wanted to cover him because I wasn't familiar with his life or what he really did, but I really wanted to focus on an author of something ancient, and I was like, oh, hell yeah, at first I was like, oh, let's cover Antigone, and I was like, a lot of people probably aren't going to know Antigone. I'm going to be blunt about it, but I was like, everybody's going to know Oedipus one way or another, because it's been adapted in like a satire film or some shit like that, or it's been discussed in like another TV series or whatnot that people are going to know. Or a writing class. So I thought Oedipus would be a better example, and I was like, well, I gotta do a little background of this man, because I'm not really familiar with like all of his other work. And I was like, well, there's only 7 completed ones that we know of.
Yeah, that's interesting, becoming a writer back then. Like, and like trying to figure out what they wrote, you know, like, it gets lost. It's so sad.
It really is. And the crazy thing is that anything can be found too. But I think just with the paper that it's used, and depending on like if it's been in like a cool temper controlled area, or if it's been like out that all depends if it's been, like, pretty much destroyed or not, because a lot of the old writing and stuff like that, everything has to be in a controlled temp. Especially, like, with paintings and such.
Yeah.
Because if you let it out to just regular air...
Like Mona Lisa.
Yes. Just like
Mona Lisa. Go back to the last episode.
It will.
2 episodes ago.
Yes. It will... Yeah. It will just... disappear.
Yeah.
So, thank you for joining us this week. What did you learn?
Man. I learned you can do a lot of things at once.
Yeah.
It's okay to be well-rounded. It's okay to dance.
You went dancing.
I can't get over it. I'm just so curious. I want to know how they dance. I'm gonna look it up.
Just look up ancient Greek dancing.
Because they were so serious. So if you know, they were like, did it with like serious faces.
I know that the chorus would wear masks.
That
like,
makes sense,
really,
yeah.
like, kind of like the Happy and South from,
Yeah.
like, kind of masks.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I believe we had to watch Antigone in one of my classes. Like, a play adaptation that, like, a school did.
Yeah.
Dude, I was just like, oh my god, the book is so much better
Yeah.
than play.
Yeah, I love plays, but it's hard for me to get into the older ones. Because sometimes I'm watching them just like...
The language is the hardest part.
Yeah.
And that's what I learned is just, man, this stuff is old as shit.
We talk very differently now.
Yeah, and even with, like, translating, a lot of it can just be like, this doesn't really make sense, but it's just, it's the language barriers.
It's like, even like Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Because I've studied Shakespeare a lot, when I was in a Shakespeare show a few years ago, we had, like, 5-hour rehearsals, and a lot of the rehearsal was just being able to translate what our lines mean, so that we could, like, demonstrate that with our actions. But, like, we knew the audience wouldn't understand the words, so that's why we have to, like, show what it means.
Exactly, and with the ancient, and you have to think, Old English is a completely different language.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's been a crazy ride this week. I love researching this. I was quite intrigued.
I thought you were going to say I cried.
No.
You didn't cry reading the tragedy?
No. Honestly, it is a tragedy, but... Dude, I don't think anything ever happened in these plays, or, like, anything good ever happened in these plays, because they're all called tragedies.
Right. The comedy will come later. All right, well...
Where can you find us?
You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Historia the Podcast. You can find us, or you can email us at historiathepodcast@gmail.com. And hopefully by the time you're listening to this, we have some more social media platforms, but we'll see when we get there. We're still figuring it out, so bear with us.
Yes, please.
All right, well...
We will catch you next week. We got another fun one that
we'll be doing a double
together.
episode, double story.
Yes.
And happy Valentine's Day.
Will it be Valentine's Day?
Almost. It's a week before Valentine's Day.
Oh yeah, because it's on a Monday this year. Weird.
I'm excited for my class's Valentine's party.
Aww. It's gonna be so cute.
Pass out the Valentines.
Do you give your kids Valentines?
Yeah.
Aww. You gonna give them the blow pops?
Oh, I should try to find those. Last year I got Among Us ones because they all loved Among Us. And it came with tattoos. They were freaking
I feel
out.
like Encanto is the big one this year.
Yes, I'm going to try to find, but those are going to be sold out. I need to go look, like, tomorrow.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, because everyone's going to want Encanto. Yeah, they love it. All right, well, thanks for listening, guys.
Catch you next week.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.